Right now, one of the biggest weather stories on Earth is not a tornado, not a hurricane, not a wildfire. It is ice. Because as of March 2026, Arctic sea ice likely reached its winter maximum at about 5.5 million square miles, roughly 14.3 million square kilometers, which is statistically tied for the lowest winter peak in the satellite record. And that matters because the Arctic is supposed to be one of the planet's great cooling systems. When that shield comes in weak, the whole planet feels it. This is not just some distant polar headline. This is a warning light for the atmosphere. Scientists at NASA and NSIDC say this year's winter peak came in about 500,000 square miles below the 1981 to 2010 average, or about 1.4 million square kilometers below normal. That is a missing chunk of winter ice roughly the size of 2 Texases, and when bright sea ice disappears, darker ocean water is left behind to absorb more of the sun's energy instead of reflecting it back into space. That feedback loop helps melt more ice, hold more heat, and push the climate system farther out of balance. So what does that mean for weather in the United States? It does not mean one low ice year directly creates one exact storm, but it does mean the planet is carrying more heat, the Arctic is changing faster than it should, and the atmosphere is being loaded with more imbalance over time. NASA notes that sea ice has helped keep the Arctic cool and may have helped stabilize Earth's weather patterns for thousands of years. As that protection weakens, the background state of the climate gets more volatile, and look at what the US has already been dealing with. NOAA said record heat was baking the western United States in March 2026, and NASA reported that several states climbed over 100 degrees this month, with some locations seeing their highest March temperatures on record. At the same time, NOAA also highlighted a major winter storm this year that spread extreme cold deep into the country, with warnings reaching as far south as the Mexican border and freeze watches extending into northern Florida. That contrast, heat in one place, bitter cold in another, violent swings in between, is exactly the kind of climate tension that gets people's attention. And this is where the story gets bigger than America. What happens in the Arctic does not stay in the Arctic. Less ice means less reflectivity. Less reflectivity means more absorbed heat. More absorbed heat means warmer ocean water, thinner ice, and a climate system that keeps feeding itself in the wrong direction. NOAA's Arctic report card says declining sea ice and growing ocean heat are already threatening longer-term ocean and weather patterns. NASA also notes that September Arctic sea ice has been shrinking at about 12% per decade compared with the 1981 to 2010 average. So this is not some one-off weird year. It is part of a longer signal that matters globally because more heat in the climate system raises the odds of extremes showing up harder, earlier, or in places that are not used to them. Heat waves become more dangerous. Wildfire seasons become easier to ignite. Snow and ice become less reliable, water systems shift, coastal ecosystems change, shipping routes open farther north, and the weather people are used to starts acting less familiar. So when people ask, what does this mean? It means the atmosphere is not calming down. It means the Arctic is flashing another warning. It means the background temperature of the planet is still running hot. It means extreme weather is not just about what happens today. It is about what the climate is becoming, and if the Arctic starts spring this week, that gives the melt season a head start. NSIDC warned that this record-low winter maximum gives the Arctic a jump into spring and summer melt. In plain English, the season starts behind, and the ice has less room for error. So here is the takeaway. The Arctic is not just a frozen place at the top of the map. It is one of Earth's stabilizers, and right now, that stabilizer is weaker than it should be. That does not mean every week will be disaster, but it does mean the weather story ahead, in the US and around the world, is more likely to be written in bigger swings, sharper extremes, and more moments that feel out of season. Ice is supposed to buy the planet time. Right now, we are losing some of that time. For more severe weather and climate coverage, check StormScapes.xyz.